Welcome to Meet Me in the City, a podcast exploring music and film today through the boroughs of America. Joined as always by my good friends and co-hosts, Dan and Sean. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good. We had our Jaffa Grill.
We always got to mention Jaffa.
Well, they know we exist now because we talked to them about the podcast this evening. So
it's
maybe,
sponsored.
Maybe we'll get there tonight. Well, today, this episode, whatever you want to call it, we have a special guest. He is the executive director and founder of the Yellow Springs Film Festival, a filmmaker. Is known for works such as North Dixie Drive, and the reason why he came into our orbit is the documentary on the great Dayton band Brainiac, Transmission After Zero. Please welcome to the podcast, Eric Mahoney. Eric, how are you?
Good, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. We just want to tee you up and give you a chance to, those of you listening cannot see, but Eric is sporting a Cincinnati Reds hat.
That's right.
So,
and they're doing good.
They are doing.
They are, man. Yeah, best start 20 years.
Yeah,
it's taken a while, but we're there.
Yeah, best start. It's exciting, but we'll get into some of that shortly here. Eric, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? And then we'll get into some filmmaking, and you obviously have some passion around music as well. And we'll talk about the Yellow Springs Film Festival. But where are you from, Eric?
Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah,
nice.
Born and raised. Yeah, I mean, I feel really lucky to have been born there when I was. I think the arts scene there that kind of came on my radar as I was kind of coming into my teens, when I was getting interested in those kind of things, was really extensive and powerful, and continues to kind of serve as an inspiration to me to this day. So I feel really lucky to have grown up there and kind of seen that really interesting kind of blue collar work ethic in the arts, and also that sort of weirdo outsider kind of influence in the arts that you only kind of get from some of these Midwestern towns, Dayton being among the top of them. And so, yeah, I mean, I've always championed all things Dayton. I moved out of the state to Brooklyn, New York in 2006, and so I've been on the East Coast for a long time now, but have definitely have a long and winding road back to Ohio, and have done a lot of projects that were Ohio centric, and still have a place now in Ohio, and so it holds a big part in my heart about kind of what's important in terms of film, music, and the arts, and that's that.
That's awesome. So where did you graduate from?
CJ.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Very cool.
So Dayton.
Dayton.
A real,
I'm a real. Yeah, I'm not one of these fake, outskirts people.
Like us.
Yeah.
Or suburbs.
Tip
No
City,
Centerville.
Centerville. I technically graduated from Fairmont, but I grew up in Dayton proper first 15 years. So,
So when did you graduate high school?
I graduated in '96.
okay.
Wow.
Okay, so Dayton music was pretty hot and heavy right then when you were graduating. I mean, the scene and the
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it really, like, I'm pushing 50 now, and it still like really holds a very near and dear place in my heart in terms of what like inspired me to do a lot of things in the arts. I started off kind of playing music and fronted a band in Dayton for 10 years or so, and it was very inspiring to me as a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old to be able to go out and see, DIY shows. And I remember like when Network started downtown, going and seeing, touring bands come through, like indie touring bands was very cool. Brookwood Hall, 1470s, just being able to go see Fugazi or Brainiac or The Method or Guided by Voices or, Cage, and it was a very active scene, and for someone that was very young that was really heavily getting into music at that point, it really served as a catalyst to inspire and make me want to make things and get involved in that big time.
That's awesome. What was the name of your band?
Murder Your Darlings.
Oh yeah, I
You were
remember.
in Murder Your Darlings? Wow.
Yeah, that was my band with Scott Bodine.
Yeah.
Scott
Joe
coming on. We
Pursuti,
got
Jake
him.
Twynham. Yeah, we did that for a lot of years, and yeah, it was a great time. And we were, we got to tour a little bit and put out some records, and yeah, that was a really really fun band to be in, and those were some great years for sure.
That's awesome.
So you were singing?
Yeah, singing and playing guitar for that band. Yeah.
So when did you start to learn the guitar? Like, was that your first instrument you learned, or?
Yeah, I mean, I had several failed attempts at piano as a kid, and it never took, which I'm still regretful to this day. But I took lessons from Scott Bodine at Dayton Band on North Main Street.
really?
So like that was like my kind of foray into that whole world was, I was taking guitar. I got a guitar. I was like a freshman in high school, and Scott taught music at Dayton Band. I lived directly behind Dayton Band, so I would just like kind of walk over there. And, he had a big Method sticker on his door and, cigarette smoke billowing out from underneath the door. And he's like, who's this long-haired, shredding, virtuoso guitar player? I need to learn from him. And so, like, he met me when I was like a 15-year-old kid. And he would invite me to, like, house parties and shows and stuff because I was just really into it. I was just so into it. So we kind of clicked, and, he was, I think, 7 years older than me at the time. So there was a big difference, between 15 and 22 or whatever. But, he was really cool. And like he and Michelle, I got to know them and hang out with them and go to shows and kind of sneak in the back door at stuff and hang out and watch the scene from, kind of from afar because I was a little young for a while, but then became a little bit more active. But yeah, he was my foray kind of into the scene there.
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Wow.
So is that where going in? Well, I'll hit that later. I was going to say, is that where the North Dixie kind of came in? I mean, because you were right off of that, right? Growing up.
Yeah, so I grew up on Catalpa. Like, this is so insider baseball.
Yeah.
We just shrunk the audience to 3 people. So I grew up on Catalpa, which is just proper north, off of North Main Street. The North Dixie Drive documentary kind of came. My girlfriend at the time, is now my wife. Her family has a business, has a body shop and a used car lot over there. And I'd always been over on North Dixie my whole life, but getting to know their family and kind of being at the shop, that happened when I was kind of transitioning a little bit out of music and into film and really being interested in like nonfiction filmmaking and the more I hung out at that shop, it just was nagging at me like year after year, like there's something here that you should just get because like everyone here is so fascinating and odd, and the juxtaposition of all these different cultures and walks of life that operate on this traffic circle is really interesting to me. And it was around that time that I was really getting like early Errol Morris films and like Vernon, Florida, and that to me was kind of a blueprint to kind of figure out like, oh, that's what this could be. This could just be a snapshot of this little community there, and that's kind of how that all started. And I ended up taking this film class with Werner Herzog.
Oh, really?
Who once I left that, I went and made North Dixie like within 2 weeks. Like I was just completely full throttle because some of his documentary work too was very inspiring to me, and it allowed me to kind of see a pathway forward to make really kind of low budget indie docs.
That's awesome.
So what?
Go ahead, Sean.
What shifted? You're playing in Murder Your Darlings, which is a great band, and then what kind of propelled you into filmmaking? Like, why did you make that? I'm sure you're still into music, like playing music, but then to go into film or making indie films.
Yeah, I think in some ways it had run its course for me a little bit. I was kind of started playing in bands about 18, and so by age 30, that's about when I moved to New York, and the band was sort of, I think it kind of run its course in a lot of ways, and the distance kind of made it a little bit more difficult. And I'd always been a huge movie person, and in conjunction with going to these DIY shows, I'd be at the Neon too. So it was like going to see really cool independent films, and the mid '90s were obviously a mecca for that too. So that was always something that really was an avenue I wanted to explore, and then being in New York at that time, it felt like, okay, I'm in a city where this actually happens. So like, how do I kind of get involved with this? And when I moved there, I wrote like a handwritten letter to Jim Jarmusch and like sent it to his office and said like, I will come and intern, and I'm new to the city, and miraculously I got a response, and they were like, come down. And so I started interning for Jim, and kind of got on a pathway to film and TV that way. And so that was kind of like how that all happened.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So you said go ahead.
Well, tell us more.
It sound better than the reality of the situation at the time, but yeah, and it was a cool, very cool opportunity. I mean, for Jim too, like they would run me on errands all over Manhattan, and so like that's how I learned how to get around. Like I didn't have a phone, so I had like a physical map that I would pull out of my pocket to like not look like a tourist. I would duck behind buildings and kind of look at the map and figure out where I was going on the subway, and like I had to take a VHS tape to somebody and figure out how to get there. And so it was really cool because they also connected me with jobs, so I get PA jobs through them. I got to work on The Wire and some other like really cool jobs because of people they knew, and so it got me to familiarize myself with New York City, and then also started getting me involved like in the industry with film and TV. So that was really nice, and I owe a huge debt of gratitude to him for giving me a shot there.
Why do you think? Why did he respond? Because you can't be the only person that hit him up to come in and want to just learn and hang around.
I don't know. I mean, I think like writing an actual physical letter probably might have stood out. Like just like a heartfelt letter. It was even like he didn't have a website to his production company. It took me like a lot of sleuthing to kind of even figure out an address to send this thing to. So I think the fact that I got a physical handwritten letter to an address that wasn't really well known was maybe good enough to like at least come in and get an interview off of. But
either
I don't know.
You were really motivated or scary, one or the other.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't the latter. But yeah.
It's pretty amazing first break to get to New York City and get to work with Jim. I mean,
I kind of figured like, let's just swing for the fences. He was like one of my favorite directors of all time. And so I was like, well, I feel like he's kind of a cool independent guy, and maybe this will track. He's from Ohio, so maybe, he'll help somebody out. And yeah, I mean, I'm still like really good friends with Carter Logan, who is in his band Squirrel, who was like his kind of production assistant at the time, and he's the one that actually got the letter and interviewed me, and then got me to talk to Jim and everything. But I'm still friends with those guys. Those are the first guys I met really when I moved to the city, and that was over 20 years ago.
Wow. So was there a reason you moved to New York City in the first place, or you were going there to purposely do film?
Yeah, I mean, it was always very, very attractive to me since I was a kid. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, got a job there, so that was really the catalyst for us to kind of move. And so she got a job, and we had been talking about that for a long time. Like this is, something that we kind of wanted to do and explore, and both had a real love affair with the city, and would, Murder Your Darlings would play there, and she would go there, and we would go there together on vacation if we would, scrape together some money and go up and hang out. And it was just always a place we just loved. And so when she got the opportunity to get a job there, that was really like, okay, that's a good foundation for us to kind of move up and kind of give it a shot.
Is she from Dayton also?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Good old Dayton.
Good old Dayton in New York City.
Making them look.
Dayton proper as well.
Yes.
Not fake Dayton.
So how did you? So you took it. Were you taking classes also? You had said you did a thing before you came back and did North Dixie with Werner. Were you taking classes then? What? How did that transpire?
No, I'd already fumbled my way through college at that point
Okay.
and was just, barely got out with a degree. And no, the Werner Herzog thing just kind of came about. He started this thing called, my God, what was it called? Like it's been so long. It's like the non-film school, or what was it called? I don't know. He was doing these pop-up film schools that were basically like 5-day seminars. He started one in LA, did one in New York, did one in Berlin. And you could just kind of apply, and it was just a hilarious experience. You would have to write an essay, and if you had any sort of, I'd done a really, really low budget short film, which I sent as a submission, and you have to kind of get accepted, quote unquote, but I think they pretty much took everybody. But and yeah, he would just do these kind of pop-up film schools, and Rogue Film School. It was called the Rogue Film School.
Okay.
And but it was great because literally you spent 4 days in a room with 60 other people and with Werner Herzog, and he would just tell you how he makes films, and you could ask him questions, and he would eat lunch with everybody, and you could go up and say, hey, how do you do this? I don't know, what kind of microphones do you use? What kind of camera do you use? And so it was just really, really inspiring to me because I had just started kind of working in TV, but I hadn't done any film work, and I was just a complete novice, and he wholeheartedly embraces that. Like, he's just like, you don't need to know shit. Like, just have a story, go after it, and, do it. He's like, just do it. And so that was sort of the push to me where I left there, and I had this idea percolating about the people on North Dixie, and I thought, you know what, I think this is the time to just take the plunge and let's start shooting and get this thing together. And so went and shot, I think, 4 or 5 days, and that was about the extent of the film, actually, is everything we got in those 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
Being from there, was there anything in that process in those 4 or 5 days that surprised even you, even though you're a local?
Nothing was really surprising, but I was very grateful for everyone's willingness to be involved. We had certain people that I had asked previously, could we come and interview you, or could we come here? And then we actually then just kind of rolled up on some people cold. I remember the Dixie Donut Shop was one of them, where we just walked in the door and said, this is interesting, could we interview you? And the guy was sitting there alone and was like, yeah, come on in the back. Same with, there was an adult club. There was like a strip club that, let us come in and, shoot and talk to the employees. And that was, I thought, very generous because that's not necessarily a place that they allow cameras. There was a gentleman on the side of the road that was holding a huge cross one day that had a big sign, like a religious sign, and we were going to get lunch, and we saw him, and I was like, pull over the car, and we pulled over and just got out and said, what's your deal? Why are you out here? And he talked to us. So it was nice that everyone was just very willing to talk and candidly and share their story and what they were doing on that day and why and what, the path that led them there. So I was very, I wasn't surprised by anything, but I was grateful for everyone's time and willingness to be open.
What did you learn from that experience?
I think the bottom line was just don't overthink anything and go for it. I think that a lot of artists that I know or friends of mine can get into these sort of trappings about perfection or making sure everything's aligned or else I'm not going to do it, and like spinning their wheels for years or sitting in an edit for years. And that was one of the things that Werner Herzog actually said. He was like make a decision in the edit and move on. That's it. Like, don't dick around. Just like
Yeah.
Whatever your instinct is, cut, go, and move on, make a new film. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting and probably correct. So for better or for worse, a lot of the things that I've done them very fast and made quick decisions, and we put it out. So I think that that's the first time that I really learned to do that. Certainly in like the film space, because I think you can get in your own way, and maybe you're not making the right decisions if you do it really fast and down and dirty, and maybe you are, I don't know. But like, I think it's always better to make stuff than to not make stuff.
Yeah.
And to put things out in the world and put yourself out there. And if it's a fail, it's a fail, and you learn from it and you look back on it and you're like, yeah, this is why this didn't work. And so, but when you keep it inside and in your house, and you're not putting that out into the universe, then I think your momentum kind of stagnates, and you don't have the opportunity to get that feedback from other people. And so yeah, I think just learning that lesson, just create and just keep moving.
How much do you think that is, and for that sort of attitude? And obviously, you've had people in your life who've helped to coach you and teach you about process, but how much of that just instinct to make the thing is informed by having been from Dayton? I mean, you talked early on about the sort of the DIY nature, the blue collar, getting it done. Do you think, or have you consciously thought about that impacting you as you started making films?
I think for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's that blue collar kind of like growing up. I mean, now it doesn't matter so much. I think post-pandemic, you can be in wherever. You can be North Dakota, and you can be in the film space. You can, I think, but like you grew up in the 1980s in Dayton, Ohio, and LA and New York seems like a million miles away. And I don't know anyone's parents that work in the film industry,
right.
You
might know
1985 in Dayton,
yeah.
I don't even have a point of reference for what that looks like.
Right,
so,
Pat, you got NCR, you got that kind of stuff.
Right. And so if you're in the arts, or if you're looking to kind of break into that, it felt like a million miles away. And so the only real answer to that is like, well, if I have something that I feel like is creative, then I just need to kind of make this in my bedroom, and either it's for me and my friends, and that's fine, or we share it with other people. But yeah, I think that there is that kind of mentality coming from a place like that, the middle of the country, growing up in that time frame, that probably has some sort of ingrained significance into just how you approach making art or sharing art, for sure.
I think you kind of described the whole Guided by Voices.
Yeah, I was just this close from dropping that name. Yeah, I mean that's it. That's it. 100%.
Are you making this for yourself and your friends, or are you making it for other people? Yes,
that's 100% true. 100% true. And same with the just make things, right? I mean, Bob is so prolific. I think there is a large portion of his work that is the most brilliant, genius, inspiring, incredible music I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
And there's a sea of stuff that, doesn't necessarily resonate with me personally, but he puts it out, and he continues to put it out, and that's all well and good too. Like, he should. Like, if he feels the need to create, he should create. You know, and he's a brilliant artist, and so. But I think he's the poster child, sort of, for what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Dan and I were talking about this with music, and you probably can relate to this from, you're a musician. It's like you can record, sit in your room, do songs, and worry about how it sounds, or you can go out and play those songs. And it's a lot better to play the songs live than sitting in your room by yourself hashing over music.
Dan, remember Sean said that next time you guys book a show.
No, I'm not advocating to play live. But we had an experience recently where we're like, you just got to do it. Don't worry about how it sounds on you're recording it or something. It's just like, just try it, do it.
I just recently saw online somewhere, but someone saying that there's so much good. He was talking music, but I'm sure it's the same with film, and there's so much stuff sitting on people's computer that no one will ever see. Just get it out there. So
Yeah.
because someone's going to respond to it, someone's going to find worth in it, and I think that that's something, again, coming back. Maybe it might not just be a Midwest value, but it was when you're doing it, you just got to go out and do it. You just need to put yourself out there, and someone's going to find something in it. So,
And maybe not, and that's fine
Yeah.
too.
yeah,
That's also a way to learn. Like, okay, so I have this idea, no one likes it, so let's what's next? So all of it has value. The perceived success of how getting likes or followers or people coming to your shows. Obviously, everyone wants that kind of recognition or for people to enjoy what you're doing, but also getting that feedback, if they don't, is also super valuable. And that's doesn't mean you're not good.
Right. I totally agree with that.
So, I mean, thinking about, doing things, you had this little, whatever the project was you sent off to Jim, or no, this was with the Rogue School. You had something already kind of that you sent away. And then is North Dixie the next thing that you kind of dreamed up that you wanted to do, or was there something in between there that you tried?
Yeah, I've made very, very few films. Yeah, that was the first. That was the first thing. That was
Okay.
the first kind of real thing that kind of got into festivals and that we kind of put out into the world. Yeah.
Okay.
So from that response from North Dixie Drive, did it just give you more power to say, I want to do more of this because people are, watching it and it's at festivals and.
Yeah, it was very gratifying. I mean, that movie cost like $4,000 or something. Like it was nothing. But it played in New York, and it played. It's some festivals, and it did very well, certainly regionally. And then it was interesting. We got a distribution deal with a educational distributor, and all of a sudden, like, all of these universities were buying copies of it for like their sociology programs, and so, like, just seeing that it was going into libraries and colleges was very gratifying. And that knowing this is like in the Yale like library for like students to check out, for like to see like sociology films, or it was very cool to think that this in some small way was a like a legitimate study on kind of a microcosm of people in the Midwest. So yeah, that was very, very nice to see that on a very small level it was reaching audiences and students, and certainly people in Dayton loved it and played the Neon for I think a week or two, and we had a lot of sold out screenings there. And so, it was great. It was great to see that.
Wow.
So what was the next project? What came out of that?
Personally, the next thing was the Brainiac documentary. Those are the only two feature docs I've made. I produced a feature narrative anthology film in between those two called Madly. That was 5 short films, all on the topic of love, all scripted. They were shot in 5 different countries with 5 different directors. It premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2016. We won Best Actress. It was great. It was a film that I really got to oversee as a producer from soup to nuts. We had interstitials that I kind of helped create with this like Tuvian throat singer band called Yatka. It was really cool to kind of they were like kind of palate cleansing shorts that we did in between each short film. But that was a cool project. Gael Garcia Bernal did one. Mia Wasikowska did one. Sebastian Silva. This really crazy Japanese director Shion Sono did one. And then a musician, Bat for Lashes. Her name is Natasha Khan.
Oh, yeah.
She directed. It was her debut film foray, and so that was a really cool, eclectic, weird, artsy kind of film that I got to oversee and produce in 2016, and then that went on and did a bunch of festivals internationally. I'm sorry, Anurag Kashyap. We must have did 6. It's been a while. We shot in Mumbai. Anurag Kashyap did one as well. And so that was a really interesting kind of way for me to start going to festivals, and this was, I think, maybe the precursor to the Yellow Springs Film Festival in a lot of ways, because I was going to Sundance in Toronto and being able to kind of see how festivals work and see how you kind of shepherd a film through a festival and get distribution and press and how that all works. I mean, again, I was very green at that time, and so it was interesting to take that film out and have those experiences and see how festivals work and learn about that a lot. And so that was sort of the in-between project that I had between North Dixie and the Brainiac documentary.
So Brainiac, that was 2016. Brainiac comes out in 2019? Is that right?
2019, we did the world premiere at South by Southwest, and then it came out streaming and on DVD in 2020, just literally, I think, 2 weeks before everything was shut down. I think February, late February was the release. We did a show. I remember we did a show with Man or Astro Man in Brooklyn for the DVD release party, and I was always like, I think we threw a super spreader, you guys, because it was like this sold out, small room where just people were piling out, and it was late February in New York, and I was like, ugh. And I think 2 weeks later, the whole city was shut down. So we just got it. We just got it in.
Were you
under the radar there?
Were you in Brooklyn or in New York through the first part of that pandemic?
Yeah, and that's a whole other story. That's what we ended up moving to Yellow Springs. About a year into that.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've
New York
everything
City, the pandemic situation.
Everything I heard from people who lived in and around the city, it was particularly difficult being there.
It was really brutal, and we had 2 small kids at the time, and right out of the gate, our landlord's mom died of COVID.
Oh,
and we were
man.
whoa! We were, I remember we came back to Ohio, and no one even knew anyone that had COVID. And we were we've known a couple of people that have died of COVID at this point, and our really good friend had it early, and she was sequestered in her bedroom for a month, and we didn't know if she was going to make it. There was, you would hear ambulances, and it was all the weird sci-fi things that sometimes we'd just get in the car and we'd drive into Manhattan, and you wouldn't see one person or one car.
Oh,
and it was just this very, very surreal experience.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, I remember talking to a pastor who was in the New York City area at the time, and in the first year of the pandemic, he did something like 200 funerals or something like that.
Yeah,
insane amount that outside of a city that has that concentration of people, I just don't think you can even put your mind around what it was like. But you lived it. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, not to be overly dramatic. It was traumatic. It was very, very weird. Yeah. And we would all go out on our balconies and stuff and clap at 7:00 every night for all the the workers, and it would just be helicopters and ambulances, and it was very, very strange. Yeah, and I think our son was 4 and our daughter was 7, and so. And we were just kind of holed up, and their school stopped, and it was just such a. Looking back, it was just such a surreal time for sure.
Meet Me in the City, sponsored by Twisted River Coffee Roaster. Twisted River offers an unpretentious approach to specialty coffee. Visit twistedrivercoffee.com and use promo code INTHECITY at checkout to receive a one-time discount of 10% off your entire order.
Go back to the that time in between 2016 and 2019. When does the Brainiac idea kind of start like hitting around in your brain, or what was it? Were you just a Brainiac fan going way back into the 90s and hanging around Dayton and just being there and sneaking into their shows? And
Of course that. I mean, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Okay.
Part of it too was just honestly, getting laid off in the industry too. Like I'd been laid off from like 2 jobs, and things were like kind of starting to kind of get a little bit tighter in the film and TV space. And so, I was at Viacom for a while, which is when I did the Madley project, and then our entire department got laid off. And so I was kind of out of work, and but I did feel like I had like a little bit of momentum and new knowledge into the film world and the independent film world, and I started thinking about, well, what kind of stories do I have access to that I could maybe start to work on. And I started thinking about Dayton, like I always do, and I thought about the Ohio Players and Roger and Zapp, and wow, that's a crazy story. And I reached out to those guys and started talking to some of the funk musicians, and then naturally I thought about Brainiac and started thinking that this has been about almost 20 years now that that first record came out, or I think it was 25 years actually.
That's probably.
And then it was 20 years since Tim had died, almost.
Yep.
And I started thinking that was kind of an anniversary of some sorts. And so I reached out to Michelle, who I knew best. And I'd opened for Enon a bunch of times when I was playing for Murder Your Darlings. And so I think I sent John a note. I never met Tyler in my life. I didn't know Linda Taylor or the Taylor family at all. And I think I sent my very first emails to Eli Janney. And I remember I just sent him a cold email, and I said, hey, this is my name, this is who I am. If I were to make a documentary on Brainiac, would you be interested? And he wrote me back like that day, and he was like, yes. Wow. And I was like, that's a cool kind of building block.
Yeah.
So I talked to him. I talked to all of the band members, and I talked to Linda, and they all felt like this was the right time to do this. And so we kind of went off to the races after that. That was kind of it.
You're pretty good at that whole cold call thing.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, I love a cold call, guys.
I mean, you've nailed it. You've told us about. You've nailed it. Absolutely.
That is. I will jump back, and then we can jump back. But that is how the Yellow Springs Film Festival exists, is on cold calls.
Okay.
There is no shame in asking anyone for anything at any time politely. Because 99 of them will ghost you, and the one will not, and that one person will set you up to do some other really amazing stuff. So
that's what we are finding out doing this podcast. Is, it's, I mean, first the idea, we twice, it seems like, this is very small compared to what you're doing, but Sean and I started the Dayton Music Fest, and it was just on a whim, and it was the cold calls saying, hey, we have this idea. Are you interested? This is what we can do. And then with this podcast, it was Will and I were at a show, and we came up with an idea, and what we said, 2 months
2
later,
months.
We had people that we didn't have anything, and people was like,
released.
Yeah, nothing released.
I don't know if you know this, but we're nobodies, basically.
But and people said, yeah, we'll come on. I mean, Don Thrasher was the first one to say, yes, we'll come on. And
Don
Mitchell.
awesome.
We didn't know
From Gotta Buy,
we ran into Mitch Mitchell at a cigar shop, and
Mitch is also awesome.
Yeah, so
did so many shows with Mitch back in the day.
oh
was
man,
great.
Oh,
just
he's
a great
awesome.
guy. So
And then Tyler said yes.
right,
Yeah.
Tyler.
Tyler said yes.
None of us knew Tyler.
Yep.
Whatsoever, and he said yeah, and he came in to do the recording, didn't know us, and he was like, how long is this going to take? And we're like, well, as long as you want it to. He's like, okay, almost 3 hours later. And
We still
Which
talk.
don't worry, we're
which
not
is
keep,
great.
we're not
No,
we're
no,
not
no.
We're not
doing
gonna
it
keep you
tonight.
3 hours.
no, yeah, but yeah. So we are
As soon as you said that, I looked at the time.
yeah,
You're
we're
like,
like,
oh,
Yes,
I gotta go to bed.
we will not
Yeah.
do that. We do want to get through a few things,
Yeah,
but not.
No,
too
it's very true. It's very, very, very true. I had a podcast during the pandemic, actually. That's
Yeah.
what I was doing in 2020. And, had a lot of amazing people on it. I mean, part of it was like, I think they were all home doing nothing. That's why I was able to land them, because they literally had nothing else to do. But yeah, I mean, putting yourself out there again, if we're kind of, we're coming back to the same thematic sort of topic here, but like, yeah, there is the worst case scenario is you don't get a response or you get a no. And like, how bad is that? That's not bad at all.
We've
The
all
best
had-
case scenario is you get a yes and you get to do something really amazing. So
That's it.
I don't understand the people, not seeing the risk reward and, politely asking someone for something. The worst thing is they can say no.
there you go.
So you start making contacts with this Brainiac documentary in mind. How long from before that first email to Eli, before then it was a Kickstarter, correct, that you had started with that film?
Yeah, we did 2 of those.
Two, okay.
2 of those, but yeah, I mean, this thing went very, very fast. I called my old buddy Ian Jacobs. He works with me on the film festival now. We did the Brainiac film together. We had known each other in the TV space. We share, I think, a lot of similar aesthetic choices and opinions. We share a lot of the same kind of likes, and so we have a very, very, very shorthand. Like, I was a producer and he was an editor on a show, and so like we have this kind of like really like laser focused, fast way of working together, because I think we both kind of think the same way, and so got him involved after I did a series of interviews, and we just went for it. I mean, it was so fast. I mean, the fact that we got that movie out, I think in 2 years or something, was insane, because we were the only 2 people working on it. There was no assistant editors. There was no PAs. On film sets, the film shoots there were, but like, by and large, it was 2 people in his spare bedroom, with a cat on top of a head and like children's toys everywhere. And he had a 5-year-old, I had a 4-year-old at the time, and they were parked outside, sadly, in front of a television while we worked all day on this stuff. And it was just so fast that we made that film. It was ridiculous.
So, yeah.
You go ahead, Sean.
So what is it about Brainiac? I mean, I can say for myself, but what about that band that just, you're like, I mean, you have to do Brainiac, but what is it about Brainiac? Like, what is it? Why are they your favorite band?
Well, it was twofold in terms of a doc, because I think that, music docs on cool bands are a dime a dozen, and I will always watch them because that's just in my wheelhouse. But they're, by and large, a lot of them aren't super interesting. They're just kind of their standard fare that take you through the, just a better version of a behind the music kind of, episode. But like the Brainiac story is actually like a Shakespearean tragedy in my opinion. And like there's so much meat on the bone there.
Yeah.
And there's so much to uncover, and to, so that part was like yes to a feature versus just taking a band that you like and kind of doing your standard fare. It was like, this is the best band ever, and blah, blah, blah. But, to see what kind of happened is very cinematic, and it deserves, I think, a feature length telling, and to then explore what happens to a family and 3 guys that are in their 20s that are on this path for stardom, and their entire life takes a 180 is very interesting to me. And so, once I started getting information about where these guys all landed, I knew where John landed by and large, because he's still just kind of John and just doing music. But I'd never met Juan. I'd never met Tyler. I had absolutely no idea. To learn that Tyler was a pastor in a church was incredibly inspiring and interesting to me to explore. Learning more about Juan and how he sort of, compartmentalized this and just shut himself off and went out west, and and then getting to know Linda and Lori and the Taylor family was it all felt like this is very ripe for a feature that's not only about art and craft and a brilliant musician, but it's also about loss and coping and how you move on and how different people handle that, and the psychology around all that was what really led me to feeling like there's enough meat on the bone here for a full-length film.
We've all watched the
it's
documentary.
great. It's awesome.
Which is amazing. And then we've talked to Tyler, and we've heard other stories, and we've been, like Sean saw them back in the 90s and has been a fan forever. And obviously Dan and I just being around, breathing the air in Dayton, Brainiac. But even being as close as we are to it all and hearing the stories from a guy in the band, it's still, the whole thing is absolutely unbelievable that it's real.
Right.
Tragedy.
The whole story just doesn't even seem possible. And yet it is, and it happened right here in our town. It's a crazy.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's really, sadly, it's it's a great story. I mean, it's a great story about suffering a tremendous loss. It's a great story about a brilliant artist. It's a great story about friendship and family. It's a great story about perseverance. It's a great story about coming out the other side after like 2 decades of sorrow and being able to be in a celebratory place about someone who you weren't able to kind of, that was, to me, honestly, to this day, I just saw Linda a couple weeks ago at the Bright Side for a film festival event. And, the things that the band and she have shared with me about how that process of making the film was healing, there's been no greater satisfaction that's come out of anything that I've done artistically that's topped that, where I'm hearing people say that this thing made a difference in the way that they've viewed a tragedy within their family and their friend. Like that to me was just so touching. And I was like, man, even if this film sucks, like they're still like, it feels like this was therapeutic. And so, man, that feels nice to be able to play a small part in someone's healing. Like, so, that was really special.
Well, and you played a part in getting the band playing again, right?
Yeah. The subsequent, tours that have come off of this, and even, we did a lot of really fun shows around the release. The first one was in Dayton, and we went out to LA, and they played after the premiere at the Regent out in LA. We did the show in Brooklyn that we filmed for the documentary. And it's great to see that those guys get to have another shot at doing what they should have been doing this whole time. Like playing on these big stages and opening it for Mogwai and the European tour, and having that chance to kind of go back and have that experience without maybe so much of the sadness around it. Is really cool to see them be able to do that.
I know for people who saw him back in the day, it's some of the stuff you hear about the Brainiac in particular is it's not the same. But we were at the show here in Brightside last year that they played, and
it was awesome.
Goodness, they are
the energy
tight
behind it.
Oh.
Not only from them, but the crowd was just amazing.
Fantastic.
And those guys wouldn't do it if they weren't if they weren't performing at a certain level. There's no way.
Right.
So when you can rest assured that if you're buying a ticket to go see them play, you're going to get an exceptional experience.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
they wouldn't do it otherwise. It means that much to them, and
Yeah.
I think that I'm glad that they're all able to, you know, perform at that level and execute the kind of show that they want to, because it doesn't feel like, you know, kind of a throwback thing or whatever.
Sure.
Like it feels real and it feels right, and it's very, very cool.
Yes, yeah. Were you? I mean, obviously, it's an incredible story. You know, I mean that anyone can relate to. But were you surprised by the response that film got?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I'm still really proud. I'm probably more proud of that than anything that I've ever done in terms of music or film. Like I feel like we really, because of the sensitive nature of that story.
Yeah.
Ian and I spent. I mean, I just thought about that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for those 2 years, and we poured over the details and made sure that this thing was right and felt right and wasn't ever melodramatic, but also, you know, we were just, every frame of that, we were just very, very cognizant of what we were trying to do and say. And so I was really proud of it, and I thought, again, that it was a really great story, and we got some amazing people to participate.
Yeah.
And the stories that, and how open everyone was. You know, in those interviews, I would, you know, when I would stop those interviews for the day, I would just like go outside and just jump up and down, because I was like, that was incredible. And you know, the stuff that's left on the cutting room floor is even really amazing. Like, you know, I mean, I could have made a 5-hour documentary on that, you know, 100 people would want to see. But
You should do like the
10-year anniversary uncut version.
yeah, uncut version would be
Yeah.
awesome.
just let it roll for
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
whole
just
day.
roll.
I mean, the interviews were incredible, and it just, right out of the gate, it felt like this is the right time to do this. Everyone's ready. Everyone's wants to talk. Everyone is healed enough to talk. So no, I thought, you know, I was hopeful that this would connect with some people, and you know, beyond the music doc space,
Right,
you know,
sure.
it just in the documentary space, and so yeah, I was glad that we were able to do that. I mean, people are still watching the film.
Yep.
We just had a screening here in upstate New York, actually, in a movie theater, and yeah, so it's still finding its audience, and
I think
really, really gratifying.
I think it was Tyler that had said, because of the film, that their crowd is a lot of younger people coming to the show because they saw the film, found out about Brainiac, and then are coming to see them. And I think that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it has to
yeah.
feel good.
Oh, 100%.
If you maybe you weren't surprised at the response because of the story, were there people that you ended up interviewing or helped back or support the film through Kickstarter? Were there any surprises there of the folks who kind of came out of the woodwork as Brainiac fans? I feel like even though we're at ground zero, sometimes we think a little too precious of Dayton and our bands that are here, and we think everybody should be or are into these bands, and then you find out like, oh wait, Dayton maybe doesn't carry as much weight as we think. Were there any surprises about artists, bands, people who were influenced by Brainiac who wanted to participate in the film?
Not so much. I mean, Trent Reznor gave us money, which was
Right.
great.
Did he? Wow.
You know,
Not bad.
That's not bad.
No, that was
Also
when I
Ohio
saw-
guy.
When I saw that name pop up on Kickstarter, I was like, okay.
That's what I'm looking for. Like when you're like, oh, okay, all right, this thing might be a little, more than I anticipated.
That was cool. The Mark Hamill family connection was also really
what?
interesting.
So it is fair to say that Luke Skywalker helped to fund the Brainiac documentary?
Yeah, that's a true statement.
Amazing. Just incredible.
That's awesome.
That's a true statement. They were very nice. Griffin Hamill is is Mark Hamill's son. He is a massive, massive Brainiac fan, but also a fan of all things Dayton music. I mean, he is a real legit librarian kind of knowledge of the Dayton music scene.
Really?
And so, he was very kind and engaging his dad, who he shared the music with, to use his platform to help promote this and help us with Kickstarter. That was very kind. Some of the musicians was shocking. The National, I thought was an interesting one. I didn't see that one coming.
Right.
We got connected with them, who were massive fans. I wouldn't have guessed that. They were Matt Berninger is such a nice guy. I've worked with him now on a couple of different things. He's a great person. That was surprising. Yeah. It was interesting to see Buzz Osborne and Matt Berninger from the National to be in the same documentary talking about the same band. I didn't, that's a wide gap. So some of that was surprising, but I knew a lot of the people that liked them and that cited them as influences that came through and either pulled up and performed at things or helped promote it or kicked us a little bit of money or anything like that. It always had a lot of momentum, and it always felt like this was the right thing to do. So it never ever felt like we were kind of flailing about on that one and not able to get to the finish line.
As a personal thing, Sean and I were both playing music, separate bands, but both playing music in Dayton around the same time, and we knew Brainiac, we knew what they meant to us, but I think the surprising thing to me is how wide of a reach they had. And so, watching your film really just blew my mind that, the people who were influenced or just big fans of theirs, which was amazing. So I want to thank you for that film. So it really
thanks,
meant a
man.
lot. So
it was an honor to do it. It was an absolute honor and privilege to do it. I mean, if you would have told me I would have done that when I was 16, I would have never believed you. And so I just felt really lucky that I got the opportunity and everyone bought in and trusted me with the story. That was another big part. It was that felt really heavy for a long time to, feel like I was kind of running point on, maybe kind of the definitive, Brainiac story in terms of how a lot of people were seeing that. And so that, that definitely wasn't lost on me, but I was very, very honored and still feel fortunate to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So
let's talk about your second baby.
Yeah, let's talk about
Well, figuratively speaking, you have kids. So Yellow Springs. So why did you move to Yellow Springs, I guess, the first question when you left New York City during the pandemic? Why did you choose Yellow Springs, and how did the film festival come about?
Okay, so I'll try to be as succinct as possible. So
You can take as much time as you want.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys do 3-hour podcasts. I forgot.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you on for 3 hours.
Just early on, we get back.
I got a pot of coffee on. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah.
So I mean, in broad strokes, we weren't sure if we wanted to kind of stay in the New York City area at that time. My mom was having a lot of health issues at that time, and it kind of felt like we should potentially, get out of the city and have a little bit more space, kind of have a little bit more nature. We weren't really sure what was happening with our jobs or, how this was all going to play out. And so, we were kind of taking little sabbaticals back to Ohio during that time. I remember we went to Columbus for a week, and then we went and stayed with my in-laws for a couple of weeks in the summer of 2020. And then I went to a couple of Dave Chappelle shows out at Weird Pavilion during 2020 when he was doing those things. And my dad was an Antioch College grad. I've been going to Yellow Springs since I was a toddler. I've been going there my whole life, and I really, really always loved the village and the vibe and the kind of history and social activism and the arts and everything that kind of goes on in Yellow Springs. And they had some killer shows. Speaking of the '90s, they had killer shows in Antioch too, at the student union there that I would go to, and so we started to kind of think about moving back to Ohio, and finally found a place in Yellow Springs and moved back there. And, fairly quickly, I wanted to kind of, it was still like just kind of, it was late 21 when we got there. So it was still like very much post-COVID. Like no one was kind of going out doing a lot of things. And I wanted to, the town was very, it was very, very, like not a lot was going on. And so I wanted to kind of think about how to plug in, use some of the experience that I had in New York to kind of come back to Ohio and maybe plug into the art scene or contribute in some way to that. I immediately, that's when I met like Libby from the Bright Side, and I started putting on some concerts there, like that were benefit WYSO.
Right.
So we did like some shows there with like Cloud Nothings and Talib Kweli and Lung, and I started putting on some shows at the Bright Side just to kind of like, kind of talk to people that I hadn't talked to in a long time and get involved. And I joined the board of trustees on the Little Art Theater, which is like the nearly 100-year-old theater in Yellow Springs. And just, I just kind of got the idea, like, why doesn't this town have a film festival? Because I'd been going to a lot of film festivals over the years, and it seemed like the perfect spot, but yet it had never been done, and felt like the kind of infrastructure was there, and there was a tourism element to that community there, and the college is there, the theater's there, and so I just kind of had this idea. It was 3 years ago in April, so just the anniversary of that idea is right now, and within 6 months we just put one on. So I called
your
in
MO.
Called in some, yeah. It's the Bob Pollard method of doing things. So let's make a double record in 6 months. So.
6, heck, that's like 2 weeks for him.
It's true. So I called Fred Armisen and I was like, hey man, I'm going to launch this thing. Like, what are you doing in October? And he's like, I'll come. And, we got some really cool films, and we did a GBV 40th anniversary that first year. Because that was their 40th anniversary. So we did a Watch Me Jumpstart documentary screening and, just kind of, build it out from there, and so it's just that thing has just really taken off with the support of the community and local businesses and people from Columbus and Cincy and Dayton and Yellow Springs, and we've been able to just have an incredible slew of people come through, because I think what we're doing is a little different and a little bit of a throwback to that 90s kind of indie feel. We're not, there's not corporate sponsorship everywhere. It's kind of down and dirty. It's kind of DIY, Jim Jarmusch came, like all these relationships that I kind of had over the last 2 decades. I was kind of calling in favors, and people just pulled up and came out and supported and kind of got it. And so, we've just been building on top of that ever since, and it's been really cool to see that. And it's a joy to do. Like, it's so much fun. Like I've worn all these different hats doing things, but like curating films and music and stand-up comedy and like hosting live conversations with people is really gratifying to me right now. And so I just really love what we're doing.
It's amazing.
Is that other guy who lives out that way? That
small guy?
Yeah, that
comedian.
guy. Has that helped as far as putting Yellow Springs on the map and people knowing? I mean, I know it's always been this kind of place, and I kind of grew up kind of the same time frame you did and going out to Yellow Springs. I still love going out there to Piper Orchards and all the places. Yeah. Has Dave Chappelle's presence also helped as far as people knowing Yellow Springs as a thing and a place to go?
Oh, I think absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. He brings in insanely large people into small venues in his new club, and is always kind of thought. I mean, that was very inspirational to me, like to go out to those cornfield shows in 2020 and think about, well, that's interesting. Like, all right, we're all suffering, but like, wow, like, I mean, he obviously has copious means and can pull those things off, but not everyone that has copious means does those things.
Right.
And so, like, to me, that was really cool. Like, yeah, just do things that you think are interesting and do things for your community. And so, yeah, no, I think he's of course, he's put that town on the map in a lot of ways. And, a lot of people in the entertainment industry know this town of 4,000 people in Southwest Ohio because of that. And I think that, going back to even like the juke joints he was throwing, before all that, and these outdoor shows, and now building a club there, is really inspiring from the standpoint of wanting to create a scene.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I just need to figure out how to get a ticket to one of these things he throws out there. He had Wu-Tang Clan kick off their tour
I'm
in Yellow
aware.
Springs. You were there?
No. I said I'm aware.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been there. We live back on the East Coast now.
Yeah.
We still have our place there, so we're back and forth a lot. I wasn't in town for that, but it's
Man.
one of my biggest regrets to not
Me
be
too.
in town for that.
It's my regret that I didn't find out about it until like a year later. I'm like, how did Wu-Tang come through Dayton and I don't even know about it? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean the kind of special, intimate, gatherings that he facilitates is pretty damn special.
So you just had the mini festival last month.
Yeah.
And what is the date for the full festival? It's this fall.
Yeah, this October 1 through 4.
Okay.
It's always the first weekend of October. We're kind of expanding into Thursday. We were doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now we're kind of kicking things off on Thursdays. Last year we did that with the Rod Serling tribute that we had with his family, and the whole Twilight Zone kind of retrospective event that we had. Man, I wish we were taping this like a week or two later, because I feel like we might have a really great announcement for our Thursday thing this year. But
Hey, we'll have you back on. We'll have you, and you can talk.
when does this air?
Probably in May.
Yeah.
May.
Oh, okay. So
Air.
maybe we. I will
End
I'll
of
reach
May.
out if that is solidified. And
It is.
make
We
a
can
quick
have you
little-
before and then release it before that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. We'd love to have you back on.
Yeah,
Talk
love to
about
come out
that.
and check it out.
Well, I'll keep you posted. I'm very hopeful that our Thursday night kickoff party will be something that would be very, very interesting to this audience.
I'm excited.
Can we get can we buy tickets in advance?
Well, yeah. So I mean, yeah, all this stuff is definitely announced way ahead of time, and yeah, it's all.
So talk
It's
to
all
me
for the
about curating the film festival. What all goes into this?
I've always seen this as an opportunity to kind of throw an arts festival under the moniker of a film festival. You know, so to me, stand-up comedy, live music, talkbacks, art installations, those all are fair game for film festivals as far as I'm concerned, and are very additive to the experience of going to one. And so, in addition to really, I usually start at Sundance in January, and then kind of like, I was out there on a panel this year and was able to kind of do this Hollywood Reporter panel discussion at Sundance. That was very helpful to kind of peruse the lineup out there this year. We'll also look at South by Southwest. We'll look at Tribeca. I'll be at Tribeca this year. We'll be, we look at some of these major film festivals. I love docs, so True False Film Festival is a huge one that I look to kind of cherry pick, after they have their big world, obviously we're not at the place where people are coming to us for their world premieres, although we have hosted one. But to get films right off of that, into our community for an Ohio premiere, or a Midwest premiere is very much of interest to us. So I'm kind of scouting these other festivals always and looking for what I like personally, but also what I think the community will like. And then also just padding that out with different headliners for each night that are kind of an anchor to the whole day, that are exciting, and bringing artists to intimate spaces where you can come out and see someone that's it's so like along the lines with like hearing that we've been healing to the people that were involved with the Brainiac documentary, to see young artists or people meet their favorite director or comedian or actor or whatever at our space is like the most gratifying thing to me, like to be able to provide that opportunity for like a young person in Ohio to meet their favorite whatever, and to see that and witness it and have them like get a picture or sign something, like that is like the nicest, best feeling in the world. So being able to bring in like these heavy hitters and into our space is really, really cool. So I'm always just looking. I have a long list of people that I'm always, wanting to reach out to and trying to bring into town. And then always, obviously, with an eye of like brand new films and cinema and directors that we can come and get them in the mix too.
That's amazing.
That is. I have to shout out Andy Valeri because he gave me your contact. We had Andy Valeri on, and he helps with the film fest, right, Yvonne?
Every year. He's such a sweet person, and I love him dearly. He's a great guy.
He is.
And I met him during the Brainiac documentary, and he has always been, volunteering at the festival, helping at the festival. He's just such a one of those like OG Dayton arts people that always are like down to help and down to like for the cause and to like propel things forward. And he's a great individual. Absolutely.
Yes.
What do you have a film project you're working on now that we can?
No, I mean I'm pretty heads down on this festival stuff.
Okay.
I have some other jobs that I've been tapped to work on this year and next year that are in that kind of live event space.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to be kind of taking up most of my time. That road, especially in the doc space or in the more esoteric, subject space, is really, really hard. And just, so this feels more like a viable kind of career path for me that both like enables me to still, scratch that artistic itch in a lot of ways, but also to like have more of a career centric path forward that's in the arts, which is so incredibly chaotic, right now, that like, I'm just trying to like grasp on anything that feels somewhat feasible to replicate year after year. So hopefully this is that. And this also serves again, like I love interviewing people. I've always loved it, so it feels like I'm not missing out on that so much while still building to something that's more of a concrete, job that I can actually, do as a middle-aged person.
Have you, I know John Lithgow's father was a professor at Antioch. Have you had any contact with John Lithgow?
No, we've reached out. I haven't had any luck yet, but that's someone I would love to bring into the fold. He's on the list. He's on the long list of folks that would be very interesting. Yeah, I know that connection as well. We haven't had any luck to date, but that doesn't mean that I won't be persistent in reaching out to his camp year after year after year.
Very cool.
That's the way you got to do it.
Yeah.
I got a few rapid fire questions. I want to make sure you guys are good. Favorite Brainiac song?
That's a tough one.
There's more questions like this, so I'm just giving you.
If their favorite ... I'm so bad at that. Like films, music, songs. Man, it's so hard to say any favorites. Man, not that it's my favorite at all, but there was a guy yesterday. There's an Instagram dude that like listens to bands for the first time, and someone sent me that he was listening to Brainiac for the first time.
Oh yeah,
I was like freaking out, and he was listening to Nothing Ever Changes, and I mean that's a banger for sure. Love that song, but I mean, God, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, there's so many. I mean, every album is just kind of front to back incredibly interesting to me. So
yeah.
it'd be really hard to say. I could go album by album. Maybe first album is Ride. Bonsai would be maybe Hot Metal Dobermans maybe.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or I don't know. If we go Hissing Prigs, maybe Vincent or Nothing Ever Changes. If we go Electric or Electroshock EP.
I love that.
God, everything on there is great.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mr. Fingers. I don't know.
How about Guided by Voices?
Songs? Favorite songs?
You can name an album with them.
That's as hard as song. They have as many albums as every other band has songs.
It's trying to make it easier. Do you have a? Well, let's put
Gun to my head, B1000.
Okay, all right.
Gun to my head.
It seems like at least with GBV, it's most people are B1000 or Alien Lanes, and depends on what your entry point was. Mine was Alien Lanes. I picked that up from Trader Vic's on Brown Street back in the day.
Yeah.
I love Isolation.
I mean, Propeller, Alien Lanes, Under the Bushes, Under the Stars, and 2000 are. I'm not really sure I can parcel those out.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite memory from a show you went to back in the 90s?
Or one you played.
Yeah.
Oh man, we opened for Guided by Voices at their last Dayton show.
Hold on. Let's
hear about this.
Yeah. So you opened for them. Where was this show?
Jesus Christ. I keep thinking it was called the Foundry, but that's
probably it.
There was a place.
Oh, okay. Because that's the venue that we use in Yellow Springs. The Foundry was next to Warp Wing.
Yes.
Okay. So it was at the Foundry. It was 2004. It was the Electrifying Conclusion tour.
Okay.
It was when Bob called the band quits.
Yeah.
And man, that was a highlight of my musical career. It was the first time I opened for them. It was obviously a sold out show that was, whatever, 800 people or whatever get squeezed into that place. We got record deal interest that night. There was people there kind of like scouting, and we got to have conversations about our first record on an indie label that night, which was so exciting. And God, that was so much fun, man. I remember I was scared to death too. Like I never got stage fright, but I was such a massive fan. And I'd met Bob before, and I knew Nate. I knew Nate from a long time, and so I knew Doug a little bit. I knew those guys a little bit, but they still loomed very large, and I was probably 25 years old or something like that, and it was just such a special thing to get to be tapped to open them for their last Dayton show,
right?
And yeah, man, it was just a blast. It was an absolute blast. And they played for 3 hours, and just got to soak it all in. And then I got to go see them. We were put on the guest list to go see them at the Metro then for their New Year's Eve gig for their last show in Chicago that year.
Wow.
So it was fun to be a part of that tour in some small way and hang out and get to witness a little bit of that. And that was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Amazing.
We're having Scott and Michelle come on here. Probably.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, probably around the time that yours is releasing. So
Yeah.
Oh
looking
man,
forward to that.
that's incredible.
Do you have any questions for them that we should ask?
Yeah. Any Yeah, we should ask them. Embarrassing, No.
Ask Scott if he ever used to smoke pot in the basement of Dayton Band. Ask him if he ever smoked pot with any of his guitar students in the basement.
Oh,
Will
ask
do.
him.
I'm writing it down. That's gonna be the first question we ask. We don't want you to. We don't need your origin story. We don't need anything. We just need to know: did you smoke pot with your students in the basement of Dayton Band?
Ask him that. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
That's
That's
awesome.
funny.
We'll do it.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, Eric. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Appreciate your time and hearing about everything. Like Dan said, we thank you for what you've done to highlight Dayton through your films and what you continue to do to highlight Dayton through the Yellow Springs Film Festival. And we look forward to coming out and seeing you there in Yellow Springs this fall in October. And maybe we can have you back on sometime between now and then and
With
do
your
a
big
little
announcement.
preview. Yeah, do a little preview of the festival and what you got going on there. If you could just hang on for just a few seconds while we get this thing uploaded and hang with us. And again, we just thank you for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Gotta bring it around again.